Hi guys, this is Tim Heck with Heck's Treasures. We're going to go ahead today and go over our story. This is a video we should have done to begin with, but now that we've kind of gotten going, we're looking into this and we want to share where we were, where we are now, and where we see ourselves a year from now. So I'm going to go ahead and introduce my co-host here. This is Pixie. She's one of our rescues. As you can see, she's an absolute psychopath. So we're going to go ahead and hopefully she doesn't rip my throat out while I'm trying to do this. As you can tell from my previous videos and from this one currently, I am extremely scatterbrained. So I had to create a talking point, bulletin talking points about my own life because I can't remember what to talk about. We're going to go ahead and start with 10 years ago. That's when I first got into reselling. I didn't even get into reselling. That's the first item I resold. This would be a fifth wheel hitch I had picked up from a garage sale. Now, start off with garage selling is my wife's passion. Like, people like going on picnics every week. Some people like going to the movies. Some people like going out to the dinner, the water park, whatever. Weekly activities. My wife and I, every Friday, Saturday, and Sunday, we garage sale when it's the appropriate season. When we first met, I thought it was the weirdest thing. I didn't even, like, who does this? But it's turned into our weekly thing. This is our family outing. So back then, I came across a fifth wheel hitch at a garage sale. It was a Reese hitch. And we had been looking into fifth wheel hitches because we were going to buy a fifth wheel and we needed the hitch to tow it with our truck. But we they were expensive. We didn't quite have the money for it 10 years ago, and I was looking for a used one. But the one that I found at this garage sale didn't have the rails for it, so it wouldn't work for us because I needed the rails. They were only asking $20, and I knew I could sell it for more. And part of it was broken. The latch piece that holds the tongue in place, it was bent. So I bought it. I paid either $5 or $10 for it. I talked them down, and I went ahead and I brought it home. And then I have a weird strength. Like, it's I don't know why. I'm gonna just call it abnormally strong. So we got home, and I took this bent metal bar and I bent it back into position appropriately with my hands to where it worked as it should. I oiled everything up, and I went ahead and put it online and sold it within like a week for $150. It blew my mind. But that was the first item I had ever bought to resell. I've resold other stuff, video game systems, DVDs, furniture, things along those lines. But those were items I had that I had used and then I sold to recoup some of my money. Whereas this fifth wheel hitch I strictly bought to resell. I really didn't have another experience with reselling for about a year or so until we had moved to North Dakota. We've kind of lived all around. And when we were living in North Dakota, we were living in an apartment building. I had gotten a job with Microsoft out in Fargo. And while we were living in the apartments, we came home one day from being out garage sailing, and by our dumpster in the parking lot, there was an Xbox 360, 6 video games, the 2 controllers, the AV cord, not the HDMI one, but the other one that that's the red, white, and yellow. And then also the rechargeable battery packs, the Nico battery packs and charger. And I'm like, what the heck is going on? I'm looking around, trying to figure things out. I mean, it was right next to the garbage can. Like, it could not have been closer to being to the dumpster unless it was inside of the dumpster. So I told Emily, I'm like, hey, we're taking this. Somebody must have been, throwing it away, but instead of throwing it away, set it outside for somebody to take. I'm assuming, my only thought is that it would have been, hey, psycho, quiet.
Pixie.
My only thought is that it would have been somebody cheated on their significant other, so they took their Xbox and threw it away. That's my best guess. Either way, I scored. I went ahead and I sold everything because I kept 2 or 3 of the games and one of the controllers, but I sold everything for like $150, $200. It was a free item. It cost me nothing. I sold it on local swap on Craigslist for, like I said, 150, 200 bucks, and it was awesome. Now, when we lived in this area, I don't know if you guys are familiar with Plato's Closet or Once Upon a Child. These stores will buy your clothes off you. You can take in your clothes and sell them. They'll go through a garbage bag full of clothes and sort out the items they want to keep. They'll sort through the items they want to keep, and they'll pay you for each, whatever items are good enough for them to resell, and then they'll resell those. So while we lived in that area, when we were garage selling, we'd buy the name brand clothes for, a quarter, and we'd take in a garbage bag full of the name brand clothes, and then whatever they would buy, we'd go up like once a month with a couple garbage bags, drop them off, and come back, and whatever they buy, we get cash for those, and what they wouldn't buy, we'd take back, and then we'd sort out and we'd sell on, on Craigslist again. So, being in a college town, that actually worked really well for us, and it was a good side income. There weren't many garage sales in the area. The garage sales we went to when we lived in North Dakota, we'd have to drive like 20 miles for, because it's such a big city. A college campus town. It's the University of North Dakota, North Dakota State University, NDSU. And the garage sale scene just wasn't the same as we were used to back home, so we had to kind of drive out of town to get to smaller towns until we found a similar feeling garage sale setting that we were comfortable with and that we could buy from. So after North Dakota, we ended up down in Minnesota for a little while. No story really to tell there, just we got some more moving in around, and then we got down to Tennessee, where we stayed for a couple of years. When we were down in Tennessee, I was working for a company called Newell Rubbermaid. We made the Sharpie markers, and the company every year had an auction giveaway. They do like a raffle, and they would take all of the old equipment or whatever they had bought new for, say, either the offices or the maintenance shop, roller chairs or keyboards, stuff like that. Instead of throwing the old stuff away, they offered it to all the employees for free. Anybody could bid on it. So we put in our names into a raffle, and they'd raffle off the names, and whoever won the raffle got the item. I got 2 items from them. One of them was a Rockwell Delta sander. It was an old one, like 1980s, but it sold. Some dude drove like 500 miles to buy this thing off me for 500 bucks. It was absolutely just astounding. It blew my mind. I mean, this thing was huge, bulky. When I tried putting it in the trunk of my old beat-up car, I busted out the back windshield. It was it was a fun time. Now, when we were living down in Tennessee, we had bought a boat off of my father-in-law. This boat was a 1973 Fiberform with a Mercruiser engine, and it was a inboard engine. It needed repaired bad. It's like a 26. It was my wife's grandfather's. He bought it brand new back in the 70s, and then my father-in-law bought it, and then we bought it off of him. Nothing was ever really done to it. It was used it was rode hard and put up wet. It wasn't taken care of. Well, we went ahead and I stripped it. I rebuilt everything. I completely rebuilt the motor. I rebuilt the transom. I redid all of the
floors.
Yep, the floors. I did the floors in a vinyl wood. It looks awesome. I did the seats. I reupholstered the seats by myself.
I helped.
Emily helped some, but I had never used a sewing machine before that, and it was a lot of work, but it was awesome. And one of the things is with this boat, the transom assembly and bell housing are known to deteriorate over time and to give out. And if that happens, it's a very expensive piece. Well, I ended up finding a boat in somebody's yard about 2.5 hours away for free. They wanted to get rid of the boat. It didn't have an engine, but it had the transom assembly. And I told my brother-in-law, I'm like, let's go get it. Let's get it on the truck. I mean, it took us like 5 hours to get this thing on the truck. We busted up our vehicle a little bit getting it up there, but we got it on the truck and we were able to get it home. And all I was going to do was remove the transom assembly and then take it to the junkyard. I was just going to pay to have it thrown away because it was worth it to me to get this transom assembly. I mean, we blew out a tire on the way home, got pulled over. I mean, we were redneck doing this, guys. I mean, it was ridiculous. But when we got it home, and after I removed the transom assembly, I noticed that there was really cool vintage searchlight on the front. I looked that up, and it was like a $400 searchlight. So I took a few minutes, and I started looking everything over that was left in the boat. I mean, the boat was trashed. There was no way I could ever restore it. It was just garbage. But I removed the throttle linkage. That was worth $55 on eBay plus shipping. I went ahead and I removed the steering wheel, and then there were some gauges back in the dash mounted with the steering wheel. Those were worth $100 altogether with the steering wheel. So after everything was done and finished for and removed, I mean, we had $1,000 easy worth of stuff off of that boat that we ended up reselling on eBay. And this is when we started, realizing that we can make money on eBay. Back then, we didn't have what we have now, where we have a community of people to talk to and to ask questions with and to brainstorm and to come up with good ideas of items to go after. So we kind of were just, guessing and checking. Sorry about that, guys. I had somebody at the door. One of our neighbors was giving us a Christmas gift. We made cookies, like 5 dozen of 12 different kind of cookies, I want to say. So 5 dozen, 60. We made like 700 damn cookies. It was crazy.
Who did? You didn't make them.
Okay, I supervised. I ate a good quarter of them, and then I rolled them in chocolate. And I made the Oreo truffles by myself. Thank you very much. So I had to go answer the door. One of our neighbors was there. They wanted to return the Christmas gift. They wanted to give us something back because these are crappy cookies. We don't want them. Anyways, I was telling you guys about my first couple sales on eBay. Emily's first couple items that she had resold were baby clothing. Now, our neighbors across the street from us had a garage sale, and she had 10 tables just full of baby clothing. She had 8 kids. It was ridiculous. I don't even know. I've got 2 and I want to just end it all, but with 8 kids, I couldn't even imagine. Well, we went through and we bought, the really nice baby girl stuff. My brother, and then my sister was pregnant, about to have a baby, and then my brother's wife was going to be having a baby like a month or 2 after her. So we wanted to get them some nice stuff, and they had really good stuff there. But at the end of the garage sale, after we had picked through everything, there was still a lot left over, and we went back and we ended up buying another 4 of the big diaper boxes worth of baby clothes, and I think we paid $5, maybe $10 for everything. And Emily was able to go and turn those around on eBay and lots of baby clothes for $30 a piece, and that's what we profited. I want to say we shipped them. We sold them for 40, maybe $45, but after fees and after shipping, we made $30 a piece on each of those lots. So that was a really good, turn right there. So shortly after dealing with the baby clothes, we were looking more into what we could sell. We really didn't have a community like this to be a part of. We didn't know what we knew then, obviously. We know a lot more now than we knew back then. We know where we can turn to look for help, for advice, for, good sourcing opportunities. But my wife's grandfather died shortly after the baby clothing, after we had bought and sold this baby clothing. And he had kept everything. Now, he had 40 acres of land. He had a really nice house, a big 40 by 30 pole barn, just piled with everything his mother and his aunt had collected. They both lived with him, his mother and his aunt. And she was a collector her entire life. Salt and pepper shakers and tins and china and other stuff. Really nice stuff too. Well, after the family had gone through everything, they kept the personal effects, the items, it was my wife's mother and her sisters. They kept everything they wanted. They were just wanting to get rid of the rest. Anybody who wanted it could take it. And if not, it was just going to be, gone to either, I want to say they were taking it to scrap, to garbage. They weren't even going to auction it off. They just wanted it gone. So we ended up getting so much stuff, and we started off with salt and pepper shakers, vintage salt and pepper shakers. Now, we've always had a love for vintage items, but we never really gotten into selling them, and this is where we started primarily with selling our vintage items. Was we got an abundance of product that we could list and sell, and one of our first items out of the estate that we had sold was a Lefton Bluebird salt and pepper shaker set, and we sold it for like $75. I mean, little salt and pepper shakers like this big. They were Bluebirds, and they sold for like $75. It was absolutely crazy, and we were hooked. From there on out, we were doing everything we could do to try and find out how to, get into this life. Now, our situation is going to be a lot different than probably anybody watching this video. There might be one or two people who ever watch this video who have the same situation that we do. And that is that we have almost zero financial responsibility. We were given 10 acres of land by my mother-in-law after her father had passed away, as well as enough money to get a house going on the property and to make sure we had okay vehicle. So our vehicles are paid off, our home's paid off, we have no rent, we have no mortgage, we pay property taxes, we don't pay a water bill, we don't pay a septic or a sewer bill because we have a well and we have septic. So I pay electric, I don't use propane, we burn wood during the winter. Our vehicles are paid off, I pay for gas, gas for the cars and insurance. I pay for feed for my animals. We've got a lot of rescues, cats and dogs that we brought onto our property. So I pay for feed for them and then food for the family, and we're pretty much set. So for us, what will allow us to survive probably wouldn't work for you guys. So Emily and I have decided to take our part-time hobby, our passion, for this reselling, just the entire experience, everything about it so far, we've really fallen into love with over the last year to 2 years. And we're going to go full-time. We are going to be putting in 40 plus hours a week, every week on eBay. Our goal is 50 items per day to list, as well as 20 items each day on the weekends. Now, I'm going to be doing weekly update videos on where we've gotten to this week, what we actually got accomplished, what got sold, and as of this point, we've been averaging between $1,200 and $1,500 a month on eBay. So from there, remember, we're little fish. I'd say a maximum amount of 10 hours a week into eBay. I started up my group, Vintage Thrifter Resellers, because I love vintage items. There really aren't many other people that I can talk with about the things that I love, that I can share, my experiences with and my frustrations with, and, tell the stories about my items and, the things that we've come across that understand and appreciate it like we do. My generation really doesn't see the same thing that I do. And we are so far away from any neighbors. I mean, we live in the middle of nowhere. We have no reception anywhere. I have to have satellite internet. I only get 12 megabytes per second and 150 gigs per month.
Not my choice.
That's the best I could get, and I pay $100 a month for this. Like, it is the slowest internet you can imagine. I mean, it's a step above dial-up. It really is, unfortunately. But that's the best internet I could get, and I mean, we have to in order to be able to do any of what we've got going on between YouTube and being on eBay and just using the internet. But so we make about $1,200 to $1,500 a month, and that's with A normal week, we maybe put 6 to 8 hours a week. 6 to 8, not 60, 6 hours or 8 hours into eBay. But with, I'd say, a maximum of no more than 10. But we are going to handle this like a full-time job for the sole reason to show people that you can go from a place where you're making $1,200 a month on eBay to a place where you're making over $3,000 a month on eBay. You know, that is our goal. We're going to see what kind of work it actually takes to get to that place to where you can see a true first-person perspective of exactly what you need to put into this business to succeed and be where you want to be. So, I think that...
We're okay with failing.
You know,
We don't
if
have much to lose.
for some reason we don't succeed, you know, you guys will be here first, you know, if you guys are following along with us, you'll be here to see it. I mean, we're not going to be hiding behind any rocks. We're not going to be, you know, trying to fudge anything. We're here. My first update, as far as the actual numbers, are going to come out the 15th of each month, right? So we're going to do our first update February 15th because, you know, we're not going to really be, we're starting now. There's a lot of editing we still have to do to our eBay store because we did a lot of things wrong when we first started. We're going to get rid of probably a couple hundred pieces of inventory that we listed when we first started and have been sitting for 2 years.
And we haven't even gone back to check on them.
Yeah, we listed them, we forgot. A lot of people say they list and forget. That's what we did. We forgot about them. We listed them, we put them in our storage, and we haven't even checked on them. We just relist everything every month. So we are going to check in on that, fix our store, get our items relisted, and we will do our first full update on February 15th. We'll do little bits here and there. I'm going to do a post in my group every single week about where we have reached since our last week, what items we've got listed, the amount of items, I should say, we got listed, as well as the value added to our store. So make sure to follow in on that. I'm going to have the link below to my store, or not my store, to my page, Vintage Thrifter Resellers, as well as a good friend of mine, Tony Boss. His page is becoming, he changed it. It's no longer becoming the Complete Thrifter and Reseller. I believe it is the Complete Reseller now. I could be wrong. You'll see it below. It will have the link to his page as well as the name of his page below. If you're looking for more tips and information on selling things other than vintage, go ahead and check in on him. He'll have a lot of good information for you. Only other thing I can think of, guys, is you know, just to say thank you for your time, and if you don't mind, please subscribe. We've got a lot of good information coming out, and hopefully a lot of success to share with you all. Thanks.